The Twitter takeover story. In January 2022, the American billionaire Elon Musk started buying shares in the Tension company. Elon kept buying shares day after day until he became one of the largest shareholders in the company with a share of 9.24% of all available Tension shares in the market. Of course, this large share qualified him to enter the board of directors to become one of the decision makers in it, since he is one of the largest shareholders in the company. But Elon refused. But why? On April 14, 2022, Elon Musk makes an offer to acquire Tension at $45.20 a share, and makes one of the stupidest decisions any investor can make. Be patient with me, dear reader, to explain to you why it is a stupid decision. On the day before Elon Musk submitted the takeover offer, the share price was $20.59, i.e. Elon suggested a price higher by 31% than the share price. Are things starting to become clear? Let me shock you more. The deal should cost about $44 billion at this price per share, but who will pay all this amount? Threats of Elon Musk. Let me tell you that Elon has persuaded some investors, businessmen and major banks to fund this deal. When Elon submitted the takeover offer, he wrote an implicit threat, meaning that if I refuse to sell them, I will sell all the shares that I own, 73 million shares, at once on the stock exchange. Doing such a thing will surely destroy the company. The share price will become cheaper than water. Then anxiety and terror began to creep into the board of directors. Board of directors, listen, Musk, if you do this, we will activate the poison pill. Twitter and the poison pill. It is a plan that is considered one of the oldest means of defense for companies in front of investors and businessmen like Elon Musk who want to buy or acquire a company by force. Several procedures fall under this plan, such as implicating the company in debts and loans that cannot be repaid, or selling one of the most important departments of the company such as the development and speaking department, which is one of the most important departments of technology companies, and many others that need an article alone. Well, what is the plan that you followed? The name of the plan is the Shareholders' Rights Plan. This plan will be activated when any investor, whether Elon or any other investor, wants to acquire the company without the permission of the board of directors. It will act immediately. What is the Shareholders' Rights Plan? Twitter and Shareholders' Equity Plan. Let's assume, for example, that the Twitter company consists of 1 million shares, and Elon owns 100,000 shares or 10% of the company. Well, if this percentage reaches 15%, 150,000 shares, new shares will be offered to the company in the market. For example, the company offered 1 million new purchasable shares. Thus the company became 2 million shares instead of 1 million. Then Elon Musk's share becomes 7.5% instead of 15%, and whenever he tries to obtain more than 10% shares, new shares will be offered, and so on. Despite this strategy, it will greatly harm the company, and eventually lead to the company's bankruptcy and the collapse of the share price, but it makes the acquisition plan impossible. Well, you may ask me a very important question that has crossed your mind as well as mine. Why does Musk want to take over the company in a hostile manner without the approval of its board of directors? Twitter financial data. If we look, for example, at the company's financial statements, we will find that it is a very miserable performance for competitors. Let me introduce you to a simple comparison. In the past year 2021, Tension recorded losses of $221 million, with total revenues of approximately $5.08 billion, and the number of active users on it daily is 217 million people. Let's go to Facebook. Facebook, or by its new name, Meta, achieved a net income of $40 billion, revenues of $117 billion, and daily active users of $1.93 billion. Have you noticed the difference? Certainly, Elon Musk is not stupid and knows all these numbers, so why does he want to take over the company by force? It looks like a failed investment given the numbers. Elon Musk's intentions on January 14, 2022. In an interview on the TED platform in Vancouver, Canada, Elon stated that he does not intend to buy Twitter company for the purpose of investment. So why do you want to buy the company? The presenter wondered. Musk has stated that the platform's algorithms do not support free speech and are harassing many people who do not support the platform's guidelines. He also stated that he wants the platform to be a fortress of freedom of expression and will also make the site's algorithms open source so that anyone can see and develop them. Nonsense. You want to convince me and the reader that you want to pay $44 billion for freedom of expression. Let me tell you the truth. Elon Musk isn't the first billionaire to want to own a major media outlet. Many billionaires do this in order to have a big impact. For example, Jeff Bezos, founder of Amazon, owns The Washington Post. Patrick Soon owns Los Angeles Times. Lauren Paul Jobs, Steve Jobs' widow, owns The Atlantic, and John Henry owns the Boston Globe. Michael Perlmutter owns Bloomberg News. So it becomes clear to us that it is customary for the super-rich to own a media outlet, and if we notice that Musk does not own anyone, that is why he wants to acquire Twitter by force or by mutual consent. Twitter's approval, as we notice. Dear reader, it seems that the company's board of directors completely rejected the idea of the acquisition, but on April 25, 2022, they shocked everyone with a sudden move by accepting the acquisition offer. How is that after all these threats? And where did the poison pill plan go? Several weeks ago the board of directors held a meeting to discuss Musk's offer to ask themselves a very important question. Why don't accept the offer? We will not find anyone paying $44 billion on Twitter, we only achieve losses, and our plan to increase the number of users failed, and we have not achieved any profits for the last 10 years except once in 2018, so why do we not accept? Elon Musk backed out of the deal. Elon was so excited when he heard the company's approval. He made his usual strange remarks. On July 6, 2022, Musk promised investors that Twitter will reach $26.4 billion in profits in 2028. Not only that, but I will make 931 people use it, then you will remember everything I say. Regarding the company's data that we put together a while ago, this is a very ambitious plan, according to investors. But after all this, Musk realized the magnitude of the disaster he entered into, and that having a means of influence does not deserve $44 billion, so he began inventing excuses as he stated that the purchase deal was pending. But why, Elon? Elon said Twitter wasn't upfront with me about the 5% number of fake accounts the company claims, but I don't believe them. On May 8, 2022, Musk sent a letter to the U.S. Stock Exchange informing them of his withdrawal from the acquisition. Twitter's response was very violent, as in the same month it filed a case in the U.S. Juror Court to force Musk to buy. A very strange thing. Several months ago, Tension wanted to commit suicide, and Musk wanted to buy in spite of the board of directors, and now Tension is filing a case to force Musk to complete a deal. It is surprising. Acceptance of Elon Musk. On October 4, 2022, Elon withdrew his decision to withdraw the deal, as the court warned Elon that the deadline for completing the deal is October 28, 2022. If the deal is not completed by this date, the case will be moved to start the trial. On October 27, 2022, hours before the court deadline expired, the acquisition deal was completed for the agreed amount. In April at $54.20 a share. Thus, Twitter turns from a public company listed on the stock exchange into a private company owned by Musk and a group of investors and banks. This deal cost $46.5 billion exactly, $44 billion, and $2.5 billion the cost of closing the deal. Let's stop for a moment here at the number 44 billion, to know together in detail who paid this huge amount. The amount is divided into two parts, one proprietary rights section, It is the ownership of the company, meaning that there are people who own the company, such as buying a house for example, and registering it in your name. This is direct ownership. $33.5 billion was paid by Elon Musk, Larry Ellison, CEO of Oracle, and the famous Arab billionaire Al-Walid bin Talal. This section is funded by 7 banks: 1 Morgan Stanley, 2 Bank of America, 3 MUFG, 4 Barclays, 5 BNP Paribas, 6 Mizuho, 7 Societe Generale. These 7 banks agreed with Elon Musk to guarantee the payment of $13 billion from the price of the acquisition deal. And it is 1. $500 million credit facilities, 2. $6 billion scrap bonds, 3. A $6.5 billion leveraged loan. Some may think that the loan or debt from the banks will be borne by Elon, but the latter financed this part of the deal with a loan of the type of debt financing. What does this mean? Debt financing. It is a form of financing when acquiring a company. In this type of financing, the amount of debt is charged to the budget of the acquiring company, Twitter, and not to the acquiring party, Elon. That is, upon the acquisition of Twitter company, an amount of $13 billion was charged as a debt to the company. This is not the indebtedness of the company before the deal originally, which was $5.3 billion. So the total debt of Twitter becomes $18.3 billion. But a huge amount, isn't it? This is not the only problem. The disaster is the benefits. Twitter debt interests. Let me tell you that Twitter has to pay $1.2 billion in interest on the debt every year. While the amount was in the month of May 2022, $900 million. What made the amount rise this much? The answer is that we can halve the amount of the debt with fixed interest, but the disaster is in the other half with a variable interest, leveraged loan, of $6.5 million. Leveraged loan, it is a type of loan with higher risks and is often in dollars. But what is the problem with this type? 1. The danger lies in the fact that it is a variable interest, so the more the U.S. Federal Reserve, the Central Bank of America, raises the interest rate, the higher it will be, and the lower the interest rate will be since the amount is denominated in dollars. 2. The danger is also in the timing. At the present time, the Federal Reserve raises the interest rate and will continue to raise it, in order to reduce the effects of inflation in America on American citizens. Assuming the Fed stops raising interest rates, $1.2 billion is an awful lot for Twitter's balance sheet. Let me tell you, dear reader, that the debt interest on Twitter before the acquisition deal is only $100 million. Will Twitter declare bankruptcy soon? In light of the current data, in order for the company to continue to exist and not declare bankruptcy, Musk is required, in his capacity as one of the largest owners and shareholders in the company, to fund Twitter from his personal money. Elon Musk, the richest man in the world, is forced every once in a while to sell some of his shares in Tesla and SpaceX to fund Twitter. However, this talk does not make sense for him to continue financing Twitter with his money, especially since Elon sold most of his shares in Tesla for the acquisition deal. Banks' trouble with Twitter. Here, in particular, the banks realized the magnitude of the catastrophe they had plunged themselves into. If the company declared bankruptcy, who would pay all these debts? So the banks started moving quickly by offering the loan for sale to hedge funds at 70 cents for every $1. All investment funds and companies reject the offer, and some of them offer very low amounts, 50 cents and 60 cents against $1. This means that banks must lose half of the loan value in order to collect half of the value of the other loan, better than losing the entire amount, but so far they have not bought one loan. Elon Musk's decisions. After the bank's last move, Elon realized that this stupidity could not continue in any way, because his bankruptcy would be closed. Twitter must become a profitable company in any way. But how do you make a loss-making company profitable? You must amplify revenues and reduce expenses. Twitter spending reduction. To achieve this, Musk first fired 1 CEO of Twitter, Parag Agrawal, 2 Chief Financial Officer, Ned Segal, 3 Legal Director, Vijay Gad, 4. General Counsel, Sean Edgett. This is to save their salaries on the one hand and to punish them because they are the ones who forced him to buy Twitter when they filed a case against him in court. Twitter employees fired. On November 4, 2022, and over the course of 2 days, Twitter began firing 3,700 employees. That is, half of its employees. Musk certainly did not fire them himself, but brought some Tesla officials to choose who will be fired and who will remain. Elon was not satisfied with that only. After expelling half of the employees, he met with the other half of them to tell them that, from now on, the company will not provide you with any meals. Buy your food with your own money. 2. The work system will become 80 hours per week, with fewer vacation and rest permits. Revenue maximization. First, we must know that 90% of Twitter's revenue comes from ads, and this matter is not strange for this industry. For example, Facebook or the Meta company. Most of its profits come from companies and advertisers who place ads on the platform. So what Elon Musk should be thinking, first, it is the increase of advertisers on the platform to increase the profits of the company. This is logical. But Musk had a completely different opinion. Twitter authentication tag disaster. In social media, many people wish they had a verification mark next to their name. From this standpoint, Elon decided to sell the authentication mark at $20 as a monthly subscription, but after many people objected to this price, he decided to reduce the amount to $8. But this big step needs to study the extent of its impact on the company, and here was the disaster. At 1:30 p.m. on October 11, the Eli Lilly company tweeted, "We're excited to announce that insulin is now free." If you do not know what Eli Lilly is, it is an American company that is considered one of the largest pharmaceutical companies that manufacture insulin for diabetes. No one ever doubted the statement because it was from the official Twitter account. It may seem like very happy news for many diabetics, but it is very sad news for the investors and the owners of the company's shares. But why? Because the company in which they put their money in suddenly decided to give up its most important products. Let me tell you that the company's gains in 2021 alone were approximately $1.320 billion. A huge number, right? The tweet spread like wildfire, and many shareholders gave up the company's shares, which led to the company losing $15 billion. The company came out the next day to tweet on Twitter, "We apologize to those who received a misleading message from the fake Lilly account. The official account is at LilyPad." Did you realize, dear reader, the scale of the problem? Now anyone can create a Twitter account in the name of any famous company. And through the latest update proposed by Elon Musk, this fake account can easily obtain the verification mark for $8. $8 is such a trivial sum that, with a single statement in the name of an international company, can cause the collapse of the company, and the loss of millions, perhaps billions of dollars. Let me tell you that it is not the first incident since the launch of the service. Many companies have had a similar situation, such as the largest arms company in America, Lockheed Martin, and the Japanese company Nintendo, which specializes in games, and has acquired famous people such as LeBron James, the famous American basketball player. Because of Musk's random and ill-conceived decisions, such as offering the authentication mark for $8. There are hundreds of fake accounts impersonating giant companies and well-known celebrities. But when did all this happen? Let's go back a bit. Threats of Elon Musk. According to The Verge, Elon sent a telegram to employees saying, "You have 7 days to finish all the necessary preparations to sell the authentication mark for $8. And if it is not completed on time, consider yourselves fired." The engineers carried out Musk's orders by letter, and starting November 9, anyone who has $7.99, owns an Apple iOS device, and lives in the United States, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, or the United Kingdom, can verify his account at the moment of paying the amount. Reasons for Elon Musk. In 2009, Twitter launched the authentication feature for the first time in its history, due to an American citizen filing a lawsuit against the company because someone impersonated him on the platform. From 2009 until Elon Musk's decision, users were very difficult to obtain the authentication mark. Suffice it to say that only 425,000 accounts out of 200 million users have the authentication mark. The goal of selling the authentication mark, according to Elon, is that he wants to eliminate discrimination and racism among users. And he wants to give power to the people and eliminate the class differences that exist on the platform between rich people who have a certification mark and poor people who have nothing. Of course, this is nonsense. Elon wants money and nothing else, but will this service bring in enough money for the company? Let's calculate it together. Currently, as we said, there are 425,000 verified accounts, and after making the service available, if they do not pay $8 a month, they will lose the authentication mark. Let us assume for argument that everyone will agree, and they will pay the subscription fees. Let's multiply 425,000 accounts by $8 by 12 months in a year, so that the result is $40.8 million per year. What do you do with $40.8 million in front of interest on a debt of $1.2 billion annually? Subscription features. Among the advantages that we will get for $8 is the appearance of a small number of ads for subscribers, and herein lies the disaster. It means that the most important segment is already the users, who have great purchasing power that prevents me as an advertiser from showing ads to them. What is left for me is the users who watch ads and do not buy anything. Advertisers withdraw from Twitter. So what did Elon do? Instead of providing advertisers on the platform to increase revenue, he made this decision to reduce it. This disaster made major companies such as General Motors, Audi, United Airlines, and Pfizer stop their advertising on Twitter. In October 2022, the huge American advertising company, Mediabrand, directed all of its customers to temporarily stop advertising on Twitter until things become clearer. Elon Musk and YouTube, in light of these disasters and the lack of solutions to make Twitter a profitable company, Musk's suggestion to Twitter employees: what do you think we make an offer to content creators on YouTube to make videos on Twitter after making the feature of long videos available on the platform? We will give him more than what YouTube gives, where he said literally, let's bring a group of content makers on YouTube and say hello to them. Are you thinking of putting your content on Twitter? We will pay you more than YouTube pays, and we will see how things will go. Is it really that Elon Musk can even compete with YouTube, and they have years in this field? I am waiting for your opinions in the comments.